All right. So we are here with Simon from Alchemist Distiller out in BC, and he has been kind enough to say he is going to lead us through the tasting. So we're going to go through each one of your products, if I remember correctly, Simon. So awesome. And what we're going to be enjoying tonight is a combination of a few things. We've got your Mr. Fox vodka and Libellule, if I said it correctly.
Libellule, yeah.
Your gin. Then we're going to go on to your Nectar Apple Liqueur, and finally on to the Green Frog Absynthe. So, yeah, what I would love, Simon, is as we go through this, we'll both pour a bit of the vodka that we've got here, and we'll start with Mr. Fox. And yeah, tell me a little bit about it. Tell me how you crafted it, what profiles that you built it around, and a little bit of, I'd love a little bit of the story behind where the name came from as well.
Yeah.
All right. Virtual cheers to you.
Santé. First of all, again, all our products are apple based. And in the vodka, you can't miss it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
On the nose and in the taste layer, this vodka is distilled twice to 95%. 95%. So, yeah, I can't talk about my vodka without mentioning my still. So, okay. That's the still there, and I use a packed column, which is copper rings that I designed it and had custom made. So in one distillation, I go from 10 to 95%. And then to make the vodka, I don't stop there. I add water back to it and then distill it a second time to 95%. So it's really clean, really smooth, and let's witness it.
Oh, is it ever smooth?
Yes.
Yeah, this I literally wanted to wait to open this one until we got the chance to talk. So this is literally first time for me. You're right. The vodka usually has almost like well, not all vodka, but a lot of vodka has almost like a metallic taste to it. This has nothing of that. It has, you know, kind of the flavor profile that we expect. The apple definitely comes through in the taste of it, but it doesn't have that kind of almost alcohol flavor. No, this is lovely.
So very smooth and sweet, and yeah, the lingers are still tasty. Yeah.
And what? Tell me a little bit about the name. Where did Mr. Fox come from?
Mr. Fox, it's for me, vodka. It's you can make a vodka cocktail with the vodka can turn into any other spirit.
Mm-hmm.
Not any other, but like I could use the vodka to make my gin. I could use the vodka to make my liqueur or absinthe or cocktails. There's like 1,000 cocktails with the vodka.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wanted something like polymorph. That's something that can transform, and the fox, the clever one was what came out. So that's a little bit of the idea.
Nice.
And Mr. Fox is not at all related with like a comic or a cartoon.
Yeah.
It's like the classy.
He's very upper class Fox. Very nice. No, it's and what do you kind of recommend? Like you were talking about it, how your vodka is a bit of almost like anamorphic in what it can in what you can use it with. when somebody comes to your tasting room and they try Mr. Fox for the first time, is it something that you say this is a spirit that you prefer to sip straight, or do you kind of push it as being something that is very versatile and goes into cocktails?
Well, I'm the distiller. I make all my spirits to be good and drunk on their own, or with water, or on ice. But I didn't design any of my spirits to be mixed in cocktails. This one definitely with like on ice or with a little bit of water. That's how I recommend it. Of course, like any cocktail that's super smooth, and this apple twist might come through in so many good ways.
Yeah, I think actually you kind of hit it, like with just the slight apple flavor on the back of the palate of it. It doesn't need a mix. It's not like a standard vodka, like potato-based vodka or whatever the case may be. It definitely holds its own. No, this is lovely.
To me, it's in between brandy and regular vodka. It's a vodka with lots of character.
Absolutely. And the brand definitely fits
has a high quality vodka.
Absolutely. No, that's great. That's all right. So as we kind of talked about a little bit the last time, we're heading on to the gin. So here was one of the first gins that I can remember actually enjoying. I didn't like gin much in my 20s, or it didn't care for me. I don't remember which side, but I was very excited to be able to try Libellule. So tell me a little bit about your gin.
So that gin is 45% alcohol. It is modern style and a little bit extreme in the modern style. It's very low on the juniper and very high in the aromatic, citrusy and floral. We use 13 different botanicals. 13, and that's like lemon, orange, lemongrass, coriander seeds, juniper of course, lavender, black pepper. You'll taste it at the end, and quite a few others. So very aromatic, lots to it, and
And what led you to the 13 different botanicals? What was it that led you down that?
Hey, let's talk about how I designed it. So what I did is I distilled on their own maybe 30 different botanicals.
Wow.
On their own. In very small batches, in glassware, like lab size.
Going back to your roots.
Exactly. And then what I did is I sorted them, categorized them, and then started mixing them towards the way I wanted. And then when I was happy with the final result, I blended the botanicals on their own and then redistilled as like all in one, and then started from there and then fine-tuned it. And that's how I designed it.
And
so just a recreation, like a flower shop making a bouquet. Really.
Well, I'm sure, in the grand scale of things, it's just as much a form of almost like any type of art, right? Like you're literally mixing art and science as a distillery. No, it's interesting. You mentioned the pepper, and it was funny. Like the first time I had your gin, it was all about the floral notes and the lavender that really became prominent, and I couldn't quite place what that kind of spice was towards the end of it. But now that you've mentioned, pepper, I'm like, that's it. That's exactly what's on the back. And is there something is there a commonality between some botanical in your gin to your absinthe? There's a certain flavor profile that seems a little bit familiar. Is it just something that's walking across the palate? Sorry?
The base spirit.
Could be. Maybe that's what it is.
Again, like my base spirit, like the base spirit I use is the single distilled 295. So it's very strong in apple flavors. Also, there's in common the coriander, but that's a classic in both gin and the absinthe. I believe it's a flavor carrier.
Okay.
That's the only.
Well, it's always the reason I ask is it's I have this really fond memory, like the guy who got me into whiskey. I remember him sitting and talking to me. He's like, "Have you ever gone to a tasting and somebody says to you, 'Oh, can't you taste the, insert random item or ingredient?'" And he said, I think it was elderberries that he used as an example. And I said, "No, I don't taste elderberry." And he's like, "Well, do you know what they even taste like?" And it was really an interesting discussion because it came down to the fact that we all can interpret the flavors that we can interpret. So it's very simple for me to identify lavender and even lemongrass and citrus, obviously. But it's so interesting because I'm not used to a lot of spirits with kind of pepper outside of kind of the whiskey, which is more of the peated side of things. But as soon as you hit it, I'm like, I know what pepper tastes like, and that's exactly what I'm pulling. And it was just interesting knowing that we're going through the product lines. I'm not sure if it's just my palate was expecting that we're getting to the absinthe at some point, but there was something kind of in the mid palate of it that just was very familiar to what I remembered from trying your absinthe earlier on. So that's why I asked. But no, I love your gin. It's very fresh and crisp. And very light. Like it is one of those things that, as you said, you designed your spirits to be enjoyed on their own. This would be something, especially now we finally head into summer. A little bit of ice, a little bit of tonic water if you really want to, and you're good.
This one you drink it like a whiskey, like on ice or like just on its own with the dash of water, and then yeah.
And is it, like I know with whiskeys, they often talk about it opening up the palate. I've never done that with other spirits. Does that bring out the further kind of like depth of the botanicals?
Well, you mean with water?
Yeah, the touch of water. Yeah,
definitely. Maybe with a third of cold water, like the third of water compared to the amount of gin. Mm-hmm. Then it goes a little bit white, releasing the oil there, and then that's the sweet point. That's how I drink it.
You really got chemistry all in this, don't you?
So that's the reason why it is 45%. 45% is to carry more oils, more flavor. So yeah. When I make it, I have to filter it to have it clear. But then if you add more water, the sweet point, those oils come back. We'll talk about that with the absinthe because it's exactly the same idea.
Very cool. All right. So this, as we kind of talked about, your apple nectar liqueur. This one caught me off guard. I must admit, I am not much of traditionally of a liqueur person. I think the closest that I've had the occasional brandy. My grandmother had me in sherry at one point, but I haven't gone far into the actual liqueurs. So I didn't know what to expect about this one, but I must admit I was pleasantly surprised, and this has quickly become my kind of like spirit of choice when I don't feel like whiskey. but I feel like apple pie poured over ice cream. This, and it was funny. I remember the first time I cracked this, which was on one of our virtual events. I said, "Oh my God, this needs to go over ice cream." And then I looked at the label. It's like, "In cocktails or over ice cream." I'm like, "Oh, okay, he's already thought of it." So tell me about your nectar.
Okay, 24%. 24%. Sweet, apple, cinnamon, a little bit of orange, and I don't know if you can see well, but a little bit syrupy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's definitely got that texture to it. Yeah,
but it's not like overly sweet. And this one to make, it's much simpler, less ingredient than the gin, but this one is way more question of balance. So what I do is I take my base spirit and I infuse it with cinnamon, orange, a little bit of oak chips, and then I sweeten it with apple liqueur, apple concentrate.
Okay.
So there's no white sugar in it. It's only pure fruit. No cheat.
No, like I think it was the cinnamon that really made me think of like apple pie.
Yeah.
Those two flavors coming together. But you're right, like it definitely has the syrupy kind of texture. But I think the thing that I liked about it, like, I mean, I like sweet things, but it doesn't linger. Like it's a very even spirit. The sweetness hits you right at the front of the palate. You kind of get that familiar expectation of, oh, this is dessert. That's what this is. Yeah. And then it slides off your tongue just as fast. Whereas, the vodka or the gin kind of had those like lingering elements to them, which are more native to their spirit. This one is one of those ones that I could imagine after a dinner.
Yeah,
sitting down, pouring a glass, and saying, "I don't need dessert. I'm going to sit and look at the sunset, and I'm going to just enjoy this glass." This this has been very quickly becoming one of my daily kind of enjoyers. It's that good. It's delicious.
So now, like maybe a minute after I had it, I just drank some. Now I still have like the orange, but that's true. Like the cinnamon's gone, the apple is gone. It's just like a pleasant orange and yeah, very soft.
Yeah. No, this is I could. This is a dangerous spirit. That's what this is.
Well, that's yeah. If you don't pay attention, the bottle's gone no time.
Very quickly. And what would you say, like I would assume, vodka drinkers come in. You talked earlier about how people come specifically for the absinthe. Who are the people that tend to come and try nectar for the first time? And like, what is their background? Have they given you any kind of indicator of what made them say, I'm a gin drinker, but what the heck, I'll try this spirit?
Well, no, people, when they come, they try all four.
Okay, so they really get to see like what we're doing tonight.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like when they come visit and say hi here, I give them a panel of everything we make. So that's that. But usually when they say, no, I'm not so much into a liqueur. Oh, did you say apple pie? Okay, well, I'm going to give it a try.
That's like, I like apple pie.
I like apple pie. So yeah, that's that.
Well, yeah, and I must admit, like I was the same way. It wasn't something that jumped out at me until I tasted it, and then you're like, oh my God, I want to drink this almost every day. It's such a gentle and inviting spirit by comparison to what my whiskey collection looks like. So it's quite the contrast. Speaking of contrast, though, I think we're on to oops, wrong way. There we go. The Green Frog. So
okay, now we're getting serious.
now I remember you telling me that Green Frog was a French recipe brought to Canada. So talk to me a little bit about what that means. Like, I'm not up on my absinthe.
Well, it is, what I meant by that, it is a traditional French style recipe. The recipe, I mean, the herbs that are used in the absinthe, I mean, from France or Switzerland, it is well known. Then what differentiates between one and another is just the quantities and how they distill it. So what I meant there is like I use all the classic herbs.
Okay.
But my base is apple. The traditional, it's NSG.
Okay.
So, neutral grain spirit, flavorless. Usually, like the traditional absinthe makers, they're not interested into making the alcohol. They get the clean alcohol and then start from that, and then perform the magic there.
So you have, in a way, kind of evolved absinthe then, from a grain spirit base into an apple base.
Yeah. Well, but absinthe is such strong flavored spirit that it's not like very obvious that's apple based. Like,
sure. And who do you see? Like, obviously, it sounds like just where you grew up and everything like that. Absinthe is it sounds like a very common spirit in a way. Like, I don't mean common as far as simple, but I mean a common as in popular. No? No?
Nope. Because of the ban. He was banned in Switzerland till 2010, I believe.
Oh, wow.
In France till 2011.
So it's an old recipe, but it's been banned until 9 years ago. That's crazy.
Exactly. So it was very local, and then if you ask the right people, you can get the. but no, it wasn't out in like for retail, like no.
And how was it those secret handshakes and those special people that you knew that kind of got you into absinthe yourself?
Well, a few people. Well, always like it's just like trying like absinthe here and there, and then I was like, yeah, I like to distill some, like try some, and then no one gave me any recipe. I did lots of research, but I found lots of different recipes from like old books that are fairly easy to find, so like I tried their recipe, and then I distilled all the botanicals on their own, just to taste and then identify easily every single ingredient, and then I made my own twist. Also in British Columbia, we've got, I'm pretty sure everywhere in Canada too, but we are limited with the amount of wormwood we can use. That was as well a challenge. So I had to comply with that.
Fair. All right, so lead me through absinthe. As I said, I'm not experienced at all. What should I be looking for?
So do not drink it.
Do not drink it.
No. I hope you have cold water. You drink it with water.
Okay.
I didn't warn you, sorry.
It's okay, I've got a touch of water.
Okay, so give it a smell.
Okay.
So you smell like warm, licorice, lots of alcohol, and maybe some herbs, but like fairly tame, really, if you don't like stir it.
Yeah, the licorice, and once again, similar to the gin, some of like the pepper that we talked about, as soon as you kind of mentioned herbs, all of a sudden you're right. That was something else that just kind of triggers. Because prominently, the first thing I would go for is licorice, that kind of like black licorice kind of aroma. But now I can it's almost the herbs are becoming more prominent now that I'm looking for them.
Yeah. Now water.
Okay.
You add the water slowly into it. And release the oils nicely. It lushes.
Okay, so there's the misting that you were kind of talking about.
Yeah. So that's that. It's 65%. The reason for that much alcohol, it's not to get you drunk. It is to carry lots of flavors, lots of oils, for those oils to get released with the water. That's the reason why it's so strong. So that's what you want. And now if you give it a smell, like being like it has exploded, like now you can smell it like way more. Like I can smell it here. And from there, so like, yeah, so you can smell it, yeah, you can see it, you can taste it better. It's just, yeah, the reason why it is distilled that much, that's strong. Usually, I think they range between like 55 and 75, 80% alcohol, and but yeah. It's not to catch fire, not to float. It's to drink with lots of water. Yeah. The traditional way is to have your water up high into a water fountain.
It softened it because I didn't know the water trick. Yeah. Like it's definitely, out of your entire product line, it's definitely the one that's the highest proof, the most aggressive, due to the amount of alcohol in it. But it doesn't have, it's like the water and, as you said, releasing some of the oils actually cuts some of the bite out of it. It's almost like the closest comparison I can draw to it right now is the difference between, some people can't stand tequila, but there's a difference between, tequila we usually get in Canada and tequila you find elsewhere. That little bit of water took some of that sharpness out of the absinthe that a lot of people probably are unsure of how to process, and made it into something a lot more sippable, warm. Like there's a definite warmth to it.
Yeah, well, we recommend like 4 to 6 parts water, so lots of water. Like in my glass here, that was maybe 2 parts water for 1 absinthe. So like in the stronger side. But yeah, no, it's supposed to be refreshing. It's supposed to be like when you put 6 parts water, you can't even feel the alcohol when you taste it. When you drink it, after you feel it, but
you get up a couple hours later, you're like, oh.
Yeah. Well, that's the trick about the absinthe. It's fresh. It's often you drink it with sugar, so you don't realize it, and that's what tricks you as well. It's like you take 1 glass, a second glass, and then after it's you like, ooh.
So what would the pairing of it with sugar? So, if you did 4 to 6 part water, would it be like what, a teaspoon of sugar to it, or even smaller?
So the ritual is having a wide open glass, large glass. You put a slotted spoon on top of your glass. You put a sugar cube.
Okay.
Sugar cube. And then I was about to say, it's like you've got a water fountain, so up high container with water and your ice cubes, and then you pour the water on top of the sugar in the absinthe very slowly, and then with the colder and the slower you pour the water, the whiter it gets and the more flavors you get from it. The sugar, it is not so necessary for our absinthe.
Okay.
It's more to counterbalance a bitterness. The old absinthe and some of the recent ones, they are infused with the wormwood, which makes it real bitter. And
yeah, I definitely wouldn't consider yours bitter.
And the sugar was there to counterbalance that. But if you put some sugar in your glass right now, you'll see it brings like a candiness to it, which is very very nice too. It's definitely something to try with absinthe, with and without sugar.
Yeah, it will be something I'll have to do. Definitely didn't have the 6-part water or anything like that, but it would be very interesting to do that slow pour with. I'll see if I have the sugar cube. Definitely, it sounds like that's the way to go. Is that just because of the slow melt of the sugar cube? That is.
Not sure.
Okay.
I don't know. I think I don't really know.
Could be as much the presentation of it as than anything else. It could have been a bartender's trick to start with.
Maybe. Yeah, I don't know.
No, you have such a diverse range, Simon. It's really incredible. Like each one of your products kind of stands 100% on their own and has such a different flavor profile to it. It must be one of the things that everybody who comes to your tasting room, they're probably blown away by just the diversity of the spirits that you have. So, yeah, you must be incredibly proud. And I know that you've won a couple of awards recently as well. So I think, I think we froze. There we go. All right, Simon, you're back. The joys of technology, they only last so long. No, I think what we were talking about a little bit is just the diversity that you bring in your product range has to be something that anybody who visits your tasting room must be so pleasantly surprised by. Each product, and especially the order that we've gone through them tonight has just so clearly defined how carefully you've developed profiles of your product. So it's been really nice to be able to sit down and actually go through the products with you. One of the things that we've always been wanting to do with Whiskey Quarterly is not make spirits non-reachable or inaccessible to anybody. And going through and hearing it from the distiller themselves of how they built them and why they built them and how to enjoy them really kind of gives you an understanding far deeper than just going and grabbing a bottle off of a shelf. So yeah, no, thank you so much for going through tonight. As I said, it was fun. I was about to send you an email when your phone, I guess, had died, and I said, look, we had absinthe, and that's what happens. That was it. But but yeah, I know that we were talking about doing a distillery tour. It's a little harder, obviously, now with your phone being out of commission. I know before the call, we talked also about the idea of getting you on board for one of the virtual events that we're kind of hosting. It'd be wonderful to have the kind of regular people that are coming in there to hear it from you. It's so much more of a compelling story to hear it right from you than us just kind of talking. So if that's something that you would ever be up for and open to, we would definitely welcome that. That's for sure.
Yeah,
Cool. Well, I would love to be able to say that we could spend another couple hours sitting and drinking absinthe and get that sugar cube from somewhere. But I would say let's call it for tonight, and we will reconvene when your phone is ready. And I think if I remember correctly, we've kind of scheduled something for the next couple of weeks out to be able to do the distillery tour.
Right.
And we will get you on board for one of our sit, sip, and share events as well, so that you can come and talk about your products. And it's been such a pleasure, Simon. As I said, you were a first in two different ways for us as far as a partner in the distillery. We're incredibly thrilled to be working with you and to be working on bringing your products into Ontario. And it's been so wonderful to just spend some time with you tonight and hear everything that you've been doing over the last number of years. So thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Of course.
And well, we'll talk together when I'll be on my phone again, and I'll show you the still and all its how it's made and the distillery, how we operate it.
Absolutely. That sounds great. Well, I hope you have a wonderful remaining part of your week, and safe Canada Day weekend, I guess, as it falls midweek next week. Yeah. But thanks so much again for your time tonight, and we'll see you again soon.
Sounds good. My pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you, Simon.